Spoilers. There are a lot of spoilers from this point onwards. So if you haven't seen the movie Civil War, leave now, go watch it, come back and listen to our review.
Mostly come at night. Mostly.
Hey guys, welcome back to Movie Time with the Boys. This is episode 3 with myself, Luke Frost, and...
Luke Frost.
You're wrecking me there.
John Davis. God damn, I've been in North America for too long. John Davis.
You just mispronounced your own second name?
Yeah, I did, because I get called Davies all the time.
Excellent. I still call you John Davies.
I know you do.
What have you been up to, John, recently?
How about we lead with what you've been doing recently, because mine kind of goes in turn with yours.
I guess so.
So, Luke, what have you done recently?
Got married. It was great. I did it. Tiny little ceremony and a few friends, and you flew over from Toronto.
I like that you said a few friends and me. That makes me feel special.
You're the bestest mensch. Oh, then I went to Cancun for 2 weeks. Yeah, that was pretty crazy. Have you been to an all-inclusive before?
Yes, but like awkwardly on a stag do and just got absolutely shit-faced for breakfast and then go out.
So Cancun is close enough to the US that it just attracts all these clowns.
Okay.
But like a lot of them are super nice. But then day 2, I think it was, we're eating lunch, and there was this guy he'd been drinking cocktails since 8 a.m. And he was just at the side of the pool, just leaning on his chair, just projectile vomiting out of his mouth.
Jeez.
And all the workers are like stood around him like, you need to go, and he can't get up. And then his partner, his friend who was with him, was just like pouring bottles of water onto him to cool him off. It was wild. And then as that was going on, I looked to my right, I was having lunch, and some lady just fell up the step and kind of face planted onto the concrete and had to be like carried off. So that was like day 2 of the all-inclusive, and then we just chilled for 2 weeks. It was great. Real nice break.
Nice.
We spent some time together as well.
We did. So I came over to Vancouver for your wedding, brought Emma with me and showed her Vancouver, etc. Did the wonderful sights of Van. Did a wedding, and then came back, and then I was back in Vancouver less than 2 weeks later again for work.
Yeah, that was weird.
So, yeah, been a busy boy.
What did Emma think of Vancouver?
I loved it. She's a big fan.
Yeah.
Big fan. Yeah.
That's great.
Huge.
Citizens of America.
The so-called Western forces of Texas and California
Have suffered a very great defeat at the hands of the United States military.
Mr. President, do you regret the use of airstrikes against American citizens? We're moving to D.C. today.
We need to go down there.
They shoot journalists on sight in the Capitol. Every instinct in me says this is death. Flooded.
Every time I survived the war zone, I thought I was sending a warning home. Don't do this. But here we are.
There's some kind of misunderstanding here. What? Well, you're American, okay? Okay. What kind of American are you?
This week we're going to be discussing Civil War, which we both originally saw on launch about 3 or 4 months ago, I think it was now. I think when we did see it, it was the sole reason why I wanted to make this podcast in the first place. It's no secret by now. I know we usually go in blind and like say if we liked it at this point in the podcast, but you know I love this movie. Everyone else knows I love this movie. I've seen it 3 or 4 times at this point, so... We just wanted to leave a little bit of time before seeing it, before discussing it, so we could have some proper thoughts on it and let everyone else see it first.
Some would say we've left too much time.
We definitely have left too much time. Okay, Civil War is written and directed by Alex Garland, director of Men, Ex Machina, Annihilation, and the writer of 28 Days Later. John, you sure know more about Alex Garland than I do, so anything else you want to mention about him?
I've loved most of his work, like Deus Ex Machina, or Ex Machina as it's called. One of my favorite movies. It's insane. Have you seen Ex Machina?
I have, yeah, a few times.
Oh wow. Okay, good.
Yeah.
You know, because sometimes we discuss movies and you've not seen John Wick, which is still weird. And I've had requests from people that have listened to our previous episode saying you need to watch John Wick.
I guess we're doing that next.
No, we don't have to. It's strange that you haven't seen it. That's all. Alex Garland, very good writer, very good director. Writes some real good stories. Really good storyteller. Very good at horrible dystopian type stories. Big fan.
Is he involved in 28 Weeks Later that's coming up?
I have no idea, unfortunately, but I wouldn't have thought so.
Yeah, it's kind of distanced himself from it, I think. Have you seen Men?
I've not seen Men.
Okay, you need to watch that. It's weird.
Yeah, it's been on the list for a while.
It's really good until I'm not going to spoil it, but the end just gets, as most of his films do, I think, just get kind of weird at the end for a while.
He's great because he started off as like a writer and screenwriter and all that kind of stuff. Like he wrote The Beach, and then he wrote 28 Days Later and all those, and then moved into directing and writing, and that's when he did all Ex Machina. He wrote the screenplay for Annihilation, because obviously that was based on a book. And then so on and so on. I love him. I think he's great.
I didn't know who was involved with The Beach. That's like one of my
I think he wrote the story for it. Like the original
all-time favorites.
I'm obviously going to look that up now before I'm wrong.
Please confirm no fake news on Movie Time with the Boys, please. Let's do enough fact checking as we go here.
The novel The Beach was written by Alex Garland. I was correct. I am right, and I am continually correct throughout everything we do.
All right. Okay, so the cast I'm going to go through from order of appearance, I think it is. It might not be. Nick Offerman plays the president. Kirsten Dunst plays Lee. Wagner Moura, and Steph's going to kill me for pronouncing that Brazilian name wrong, is Joel. Kaylee Spaney is Jesse. Stephen McKinley is Sammy. And Jesse Plemons plays a psychopath. That's the best way to describe him.
Yep.
Okay, so I'm just going to run through the basic plotline of the movie. I have a lot of details written down here, so I'm just going to do the best I can to just kind of paraphrase it. The movie opens with a presidential address, and it's Nick Offerman correcting himself and trying it over and over. He's very unsure as a president. Then there's the introduction of Jessie, the young lady who's the young photographer. Jessie is helped by Lee, who's like a legendary war photographer known in the world of, I don't know why I'm saying that, war photography. Next day they leave. They stop at that gas station where there's those three sketchy dudes and the guys hanging in the car wash, like torturing them. Jessie was really upset because she kind of froze when she saw these people and didn't take any photographs, and she's really gutted with herself for that, I think. After that, they stop at this crashed helicopter, and Lee kind of has a little scene with Jessie where she's like, basically like, you need to shoot this stuff. If you want to do this job, you need to be uncomfortable with shooting these things. Next is that little stop they do that night, and you can see like the battle in the distance, and it reminded me of Band of Brothers, where you can see all the fire in the air and stuff.
It's cool, yeah.
And Wagner Moura, what's his name in this? Sorry, Wagner Moura is Joel. He drops several comments, which is like, this gunfire is getting me extremely fucking hard. Which just sums up his character. Next is the apartment shootout with the guys wearing those shirts that are suspiciously similar to what you're wearing right now. I don't know if that's why you wore it today.
No comment.
During that scene, it's pretty brutal. You see them take prisoners of war after they've killed one of their guys, and they just line them up and just mow them down with the, whatever you call it, the 56 cal machine gun. That's wrong. Any gun enthusiasts listening to us are going to be very disappointed with my facts.
It's okay. I'm sure no gun enthusiasts will be listening to us.
Oh, damn. And if there are...
We've lost the market.
Next is they stop at that global relief refugee camp in that stadium, and then you see Jesse is like developing photos, like film photos, like manually, like in a little container. Yeah. It's really old school type of photography.
Travel one, which is cool. Isn't it?
Yeah, travel developing kit. Then they leave that place and they go to that weird little town in Pittsburgh where everything's normal.
That's normal / not.
It's kind of bizarre. It's like it feels like a bunch of actors in the town, but it's kind of being overwatched by a militant group on the roofs.
Yeah.
Next is the Christmas house with the snipers. Kind of cool. It's very random. Apparently, they just came across that Christmas setup when they were building the set, and they decided to leave it in because it was just looked abandoned. After that is, in my opinion, the best scene in the movie, or the best sequence in the movie, where they are driving down the road, a truck's following them. They realize it's one of their friends, and then Jesse and the other guys swap vehicles while it's moving. And then the cool car, which I think is a Land Cruiser, zooms down the road and then just disappears, and you get this eerie tension even before one of them says it. It was like, this doesn't feel right. And then they get run off the road, and then they're like, shit, where'd they go? And then they panic and get back on the road, drive a little further down, and they find the car abandoned. Then they're on foot. They walk down this field, and they look through the scope or binocular. Camera lens is what it is, sorry. Look through the camera lens. They see Jesse Plemons and his crew kind of dotted around, and they see their two friends on their knees with guns being pointed at them. Yeah. So then they head on down there. There's this weird, really intense scene where Jesse Plemons is...
Horrible fucking scene.
It starts with him acting relatively normal. He's wearing these glasses. He starts asking them where in the US they're from, what kind of American are they. This guy's obviously a huge nationalist, racist, fascist, and is just shooting people who are not white Americans.
Bad dude.
Yeah. So the guy from Hong Kong gets killed. Is the other guy from Hong Kong as well, I think?
I want to say yes.
I think they're both from Hong Kong. They both get shot because of who they are, where they're from. And then Sammy, the big guy, sees this happening. He drives his truck into Jesse Plemons and the crew. They all get mangled in that pit. Jesse falls in the pit as well. Pull her out, and there's one guy left who takes shots at the car as they drive away and ends up hitting Sammy in his side. So he gets shot, but he's still alive. This is also one of my favorite scenes where they're driving and Joel takes over driving and Sammy sits in the back and he's kind of leaning against the window and they're driving through that forest fire area. And that Sturgill Simpson song's playing, which I don't know if you're a fan, but the only really good songs he has are in movies. Okay. He was in, what's it called? The Dead Don't Die. Do you ever see that? The weird little B zombie movie with Bill Murray and...
and Adam Driver.
Yeah. It's got an amazing cast. It's just the strangest movie ever.
I thought it was a terrible film. I didn't enjoy it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It was,
I thought you would have liked it.
Like, it was, like, don't get me wrong, I like my weird stuff. I just, plot-wise, it just didn't go anywhere. Obviously, they kept breaking the fourth wall by, like, mentioning it's a film and all that, but then it just goes so far, you're just like, what am I watching, like, fucking a movie now, or just some shit theatre?
Yeah, it is proper weird. The end's kind of, the end's a lot as well, with the aliens and stuff.
Yeah.
Anyway,
tangent. That's another discussion.
Yeah. There's the scene where they pull up at the airfield in like the closing act it's coming up to like the third act of the movie now. And my favorite shot in the entire movie, I think I've told you this off camera, offline. After Sammy is pronounced dead, by the time they get there, you see Joel screaming like this, screaming in front of the tank. And it's like slow motion, the jets and tanks going by in the background.
And no sound either, is there? You can see him screaming, but you can't hear him. Yeah,
it's just that song playing over, and the song's amazing. I've been playing it so much since this movie. It's so good, that shot, that scene. Yeah. It just it blew me away a bit. Anyway, they learn then that the president, all his allies have kind of abandoned him, and he's like on his last stand at the White House in Washington. So the Western Forces? Western Southern Forces? It's Texas and California, which is bonkers.
Texas and California, yeah.
They start to push their way into D.C. So there's this big battle that ensues through the streets of D.C. And there you can see it's getting a little too much for Lee. she's like having a bit of a breakdown with all the explosions and stuff. They make their way eventually into the White House. There's the three of them and then like a bunch of soldiers as well. They realize that the president's actually still there. The one that drove out was a decoy. Jesse tries to get a shot across the hallway, and they're firing down the hallway, and Lee kind of jumps in front, ends up getting shot herself, and presumably dies. Then they call into the president in his office. It's just Joel and a few soldiers, I think, at that point. Joel asks the president if he has any he needs a quote, he says.
Yeah.
And his quote is, "Don't let them kill me." And then Joel's like, "That'll do." And then the soldiers just kill the guy, which is pretty bleak. Okay, so John, what did you like about this film, first of all?
So yeah, I really enjoyed the film. It's a great talking point, and it covers a lot of it covers and it doesn't cover a lot, I guess. Mm-hmm. Obviously, because with what is quite a political film, with the Civil War in America and such, and obviously on an election year as well, you'd think they would stand for certain things and they would cover certain grounds, like left is good and right is bad and so on and so on, but they don't really discuss any of that throughout, which is kind of clever and good in a way.
Did you like that?
Yes and no. Obviously, because I'm a big lefty, I want to shout at the right, but But I think it's clever. Like as a film, I guess it's kind of clever because you don't want to say certain things, even though I mean you should.
Yeah.
But also, this is with how shit America is at the moment. You can kind of put your own subjectivity onto it. Then I guess
I'm kind of split on that because
okay,
I don't know if he did it. I liked it to begin with. I liked it, but I don't know if he did it because he wanted it to stay ambiguous and people didn't know who they were rooting for, or he did it so his movie would sell more, people would go see it. Because if he singles out the right as being bad and they get targeted and like lined up and shot like that, then it's going to look really bad and half the audience is not going to go see it. Was it like a profit thing, or was it like a creative decision?
I think it was more a creative decision over profit, because clearly the bad guys are right wing in this. They're all, super pro-America racists of what you kind of typically think of when you think of a terrible, terrible Republican, don't you? Yeah, obviously there's nice Republicans, etc., etc., but when you think of the big bad Republicans, they're all terrible and racist, and Jesse Plemons plays a caricature of what I would presume is a terrible Republican.
Yeah. I was literally saying to someone the other day, the good thing about the podcast that we do is that we don't really talk about politics or talk about religion or give away what our beliefs are. And here we are. So I don't think it's I think you kind of need to with this movie though, almost. You can't really.
Yeah. I'm not against that. People are free to believe in whatever they want, as long as you don't harm one another. I don't give a fuck.
Hell yeah, brother.
Straight.
What else did you like? Anything else that stands out to you?
So as I mentioned at the top of this, before we go into it, I haven't seen it in a while, but from what I do remember, it was very well shot. I know Garland, I don't know who his cinematographer is, but I know like just from the visual effects of his film and how it looks, this was just a very stunning film. Just even with something that is so terrifying, it still shows how the beauty in it.
Yeah.
Like when you were talking about the scene earlier on where Joel's just getting so pumped for war, and like because there's war like miles behind them, and you can just hear all like the giant cannon shooting in the background. He's like, "Yeah, fucking yeah, wah!" And you just see like all of the cool shots in the background while that's going on. You're like, that looks dope, but it also fucking sucks because I would never want to be that close to war.
Yeah, yeah, it does have a certain level of realism to it. And I find it. Yeah. I was kind of shocked when I saw it in the movies. I was like, "This is way more than I thought it was going to be." Because I went in before seeing any of the trailers or anything. I just assumed, it's going to be like, "Bro, let's go war movie in the US." I didn't realize it was going to be like from a photographer's point of view and follow it gradually through. I mean, I should have known like after reading the reviews before I saw it and stuff. But I think a lot of
reviews
people
before you saw it.
Oh yeah, I wanted to see if I always like see what score it got, if it's worth going to see with a lot of movies. A lot of people, I think, are expecting just that gung-ho Expendables type of movie.
Yeah.
John, what else did you like about this movie?
So Probably one of my favorite scenes in Civil War is when Spider-Man comes in and like takes the shield from Captain America. Like that was pretty cool. First time seeing Spider-Man in their Marvel universe. Yourself?
Yeah. We'll be back in a week. I really enjoyed, as usual, what makes a movie for me can make or break it. I really enjoyed the soundtrack to this. It was bonkers. From the intro to like that De La Soul song during the when they're just massacring the POWs. Pretty wild. Loved it. It was heavy hitting.
You like the use of color throughout, did you not?
I did like the use of color throughout, and I was trying to find out why they were doing that, and the closest I could find, because you know it's on like the nails of the soldiers when they're sniping and stuff, and you see it spray painted in the stadium when they're in the refugee camp. The nearest I could find is that every single war throughout history has like a color assigned to it, not necessarily on purpose. It's just like a color that's been prevalent throughout. So I can't really give you an example because I don't really know the colors of any wars. But
would you like an example?
Oh yeah, go ahead. Okay.
So the neon colors of yellow, green, blue, pink are subtly featured multiple times in the film. On Sniper's fingernails, on his partner's hair at the manor, splashed onto the walls where Jesse sits following the first major firefight, etc. Distinctive colors like a slogan can play extremely important roles and symbols in revolutionary insurgent movements. For example, Ukraine's 2004 Orange Revolution, blue and red, and the Viet Cong movement during Vietnam War, the Red Carnation Revolution in Portugal in 1974. The frequency of these colors appearing on soldiers at a battlefield is likely a nod to the phenomenon and a designation of these places and people represented as a revolutionary insurgent movement.
There we go. Movie facts by John. Perfectly read. Well done.
Thanks, mate.
I think we need to talk about Jesse Plemons here.
Okay, cool.
So I'm sure you know, because you probably read this, he was only cast a couple of days before filming that part because the original person dropped out. I couldn't find out who it was, the original person. Not that it matters, because he absolutely knocked it out of the park.
100%.
This is a character that would make me feel so uncomfortable from the moment he was on screen till the moment he got run over by the truck and mangled.
Jesse Plemons is a fantastic actor. He's played like terrible people and stuff before, and he's played really nice people, and he's very good at what he does. But in this film, honestly, terrifying. That, like, as you mentioned earlier, the whole "which kind of American are you?" It fucking rings through. It's horrible.
Yeah,
it's terrifying. If you're in a moment like that, and someone's asking what kind of American are you, and you're just like, this is how I die. There's no way of getting out of this. To go from like the super fucking happy-go-lucky scene of we're driving this car, we're doing stunts, we're having the best time, then just hard cut, like super hard cut to I'm going to kill you motherfuckers because you're not white American Christian people. And you're just like, shit. Like that.
It's devastating.
It's a kick to the face, and it's horrible, and it's fantastic, and it's just...
Yeah. Even that opening scene with him where you can see him pouring the lye on all the bodies in the pit is just... It's so dark, man. It's so dark. Actually, because I knew the movie was kind of like dark anyway, but this kind of shocked me even more. And they played up to that part in trailers, like they showed bits of that scene, and you could tell it was going to be like that. But again, not quite as harrowing as it actually ended up being.
Absolutely terrifying.
Another little thing about that scene was apparently he just, as soon as he got onto set, he just stayed in that character the entire time, just to intimidate the actors who were going to be in the scene with him, which is just genius.
I mean, I imagine it's tough to shoot. I imagine it's tough for him to stay in a character like that, because I presume he's a nice guy from interviews and such I've seen with him. But yeah, I guess for the film, it makes sense because you don't want them to like you.
Yeah. You saw Breaking Bad, right?
Yeah.
So his character in this is like if Todd from Breaking Bad grew up and just continued the same path he was doing, this is what he would have become.
Yeah.
Crazy. Anyway, the red glasses he's wearing... So they're called grading glasses, I think, and they basically make it easier to tell if something is a different shade than another. So by wearing those, he could see, this is like the connotation behind it, he could see skin color. But so that when I read that, I was like, oh, okay, that's Not what I expected. Again, it's a Steven Darker, but just a cool little thing they put in.
That sucks.
Yeah, it's just a bummer.
That's terrible. I love it. Yeah. God damn.
Kirsten Dunst, I felt like, I was talking to Steph about this earlier actually, her death scene towards the end, it's amazing how in hockey there's like this next man up attitude when you're playing. It's like, okay, that guy's down, he's injured, next man up. So you just keep going. That's what they kind of adopt in this at the end. When she dies, they don't hesitate. I think Jesse gives one look back, they keep moving to the goal. Anyway, that's kind of off topic right now. But
No.
Kirsten Dunst was, I think, phenomenal. She looked gaunt and like hell-torn.
Yeah. She literally looked as if she'd been through many wars.
Yeah, she'd seen some shit. I liked how she really wasn't welcoming of Jesse joining them, but that came from a place of, this is a kid. Basically, we gotta care about her. But she comes across as really mean, but she's obviously not. She has a lot of compassion and emotion going on.
It's a tough one to walk, obviously, because it's a tough job doing what she's doing, and then someone who's fresh and green to it is coming along, and you're like, well, you're gonna get in my way, but also I kind of don't want you to get shot, so it's that kind of, I'm gonna have to be a bit of a dick to you because A, you're in my way, and B, you need to listen to me or you're gonna fucking die.
Yeah, exactly. Let's talk about Wagner Moura. I loved him, man. I think he was probably my favorite character overall.
Do you know where else he's been in off the top of your head?
He was in Narcos. Okay, was he? I think he was. What's his name? The big bad in Narcos. The main guy,
Mr. Narcos.
Mr. Yes, Mr. Narco.
Okay, cool.
He's that that meme where he's like.
The swinging,
and stuff.
The lonely guy, yeah.
Which is surprising because it looks nothing like him, yeah.
Cool. I did not know that. Nice. Yeah, I thought he was great throughout. His character was like sometimes comic relief because obviously Kirsten Dunst was played very much the straight man. Like, this is my job. This is how I do it. This is I'm war torn. Whereas he was like very much like, this is fun. We're having the best time. Let's enjoy our road trip movie because this is a road trip movie, which is weird when you think about it.
I guess it is. His character, I think, changes briefly during that scene when Sammy dies, but then he goes straight back to business afterwards. He has that horrified look on his face when they're driving away from the Jesse Plemons scene. But then as soon as they get to DC, he's like, right, let's go get the president. He's all in.
But I think that just comes with what job they do as well, doesn't it? How you have to delete the shit that you can't focus on right now because you've got a job to do.
I guess so, yeah. What a shit job. Jesus.
Yeah.
Actually, 100%. People who do that. I couldn't do that. Let's talk about Jessie, played by Kaylee Spaney.
Okay.
I think she was great. What have you got? I feel like I want to say something then.
When she first comes into the film, I generally thought she was like 12 or 13.
Same, dude. I thought she was super young. And then you could see there's the scene with like Joel and her at night.
He's like flirting with her and stuff. And I was just like, this is weird because like she's 4 or something.
Yeah, that's why I saw
and then they kind of explain that she's in her early 20s, and I'm just like, okay.
Yeah. And then it made sense, but the same, man. She looked super young, it kind of it weirded me out at first.
Yeah.
I think she was great. I liked her character development. She went from like this nerdy little inexperienced war photographer to just as badass at the end, but didn't give a shit about anyone at the end.
taking a photo of your idol that just died.
Yeah, it's quite the character development.
Yeah.
She gets kind of cocky halfway through the movie, and it kind of annoyed me, her character, a little bit, but at the same time, it's like a really well-developed character, so it made a lot of sense. It was good. Stephen McKinley as Sammy, I thought just played that part so well. He always does everything he's in.
Yeah, he's great.
I've definitely seen him in things. I just can't think of what I've seen him in, but he seems to play the same kind of character every time.
Yeah, big guy, super nice. I know him mostly because I adore Dune, so I know him as the Mentat from the first Dune film.
Right, I haven't seen Dune yet, so that'll be a future one to go through. There's too many of them, man. There's like 3 Dune films now. Relax.
There's 2 Dune films. There's 2 current Dune films.
There's another one coming out.
Yeah, there's one that David Lynch did. There's not. No, they've just announced that in 2026 they're going to do the 3rd Dune film. So you've got 2 years to watch 2 Dune films. You'll be all right.
Let's give it a rest, innit?
No, they're great films. They're great books. God damn. It's directed by Denis Villeneuve.
I used to call him Denis Villeneuve. So in the first episode we did, when you like Denis Villeneuve, I was like, who? I was like, oh, Denis Villeneuve. I never told you that until now. Little throwback to episode 1.
Amazing.
So, a little fact here. To immerse the actors, they used full blanks instead of quarter blanks, what they usually use for the guns.
Yeah.
So it was like super loud, like real gunfire. You saw this in the theater as well, right?
I did, yes.
Were you kind of like mind blown by the sound?
I remember it being super loud and just being...
Yeah.
Yeah. It felt more realistic, I guess, I suppose, is the thing I'm going for.
Yeah. That suicide bomb scene at the start was such a shock, like so quick. And did you pick up on that the first time you watched it? That it was a suicide bomber?
No.
Neither did I. No. And then when I streamed it, there's a whole scene there where you see this woman run past, and then Lee's like, oh, something's going on. And then you see her run back into the crowd carrying a massive American flag. And that's when she explodes. And I completely missed that.
And may I add, streamed it legally.
Yes, legal streaming is what we do here. Nothing illegal.
No.
We're by the book. What do you think has the best sniper scene? Is it Civil War? Or was it Saving Private Ryan where Jackson gets smoked in the bell tower?
Saving Private Ryan.
Yeah.
It's a better scene.
There's a couple of sniper scenes in it.
Yep. But it's Civil War was a great sniper shot, and it felt super intense, but
yeah, I didn't like that you didn't see who they were shooting at though.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was going to grasp at.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, I stole your comment.
No, you're good. Wherever, speak for me. It's fine. I'll set this one up.
What is the best Jesse Plemons goes insane and kills innocent people scene? Is it Civil War? Or is it Todd shoots the tarantula kid in Breaking Bad?
Civil War.
Really?
Yeah. Like, it may be because I haven't seen Breaking Bad in a long while, but oh man, he's terrifying. Absolutely terrifying. Like, if someone comes up to you, gun pointed at you, asking what kind of American you are, and you just like, this fucking sucks. Especially because your friend's currently with somebody who is native to South America and Asia, and they're like, what kind of American are you? I'm just like, God, there's no way of getting out of this alive. This sucks. It's literally terrifying.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
I felt so uneasy in the cinema watching that.
Yeah, I did think his character in Breaking Bad, Todd, is a little more dumb, a little more kind of like likable in a weird way before you realize how dark he really is. So
he has like an arc, doesn't he? Because he's kind of dumb to begin with, and then he just twists to be fucking terror.
Yeah, you realize he's like an actual psychopath, like the traits of a psychopath in Breaking Bad. So yeah, but I agree. I think Civil War, Crazy Todd was better. Not Crazy Todd, Crazy Plemons. Crazy Plemons.
Crazy Plemons.
So, John, what didn't you like about the movie? Is there any scenes you didn't like? Is there any acting you didn't like? Is there any messaging you didn't like? Anything?
That I didn't like?
Yeah.
I mean, I wish it was more Nick Offerman because I love Nick Offerman, but I understand that was just a kind of a needed role of where they just needed someone to play a president and keep quiet and be a shit, essentially.
Okay. So this falls in line with the biggest thing that I didn't like.
Okay.
I love Nick Offerman. I love all the things he's in. I love when I realized he was in this, but when I realized who he was playing, I was like, okay. I can't not see him as a comedic character. So when he's like on his knees at the end, scrambling around, I'm like, this just doesn't feel that real because it's Nick Offerman. I'm used to seeing him goof around as Ron Swanson. So that was like my biggest complaint about casting, at least.
Have you seen... And I'm going in with this because I haven't seen it, but it's on my list of things to watch. Devs, a television program.
No, I haven't. But isn't that what's his name as well? Alex Garland?
It is, yeah. And Nick Offerman's like one of the main cast members in it as well. So I presume that's how they kind of brought him along for this kind of bit part.
That makes a lot of sense now. But I don't know who I would have cast as the president. I think I would have done it as some nobody, older man who just... I don't know. I think
a named actor It brings more like gravitas to it, more, because if it was just some unnamed, I would have been like, oh, it's just some president. He's a bit of a shithead, like, but because
I guess so.
You've kind of got that, like, oh, it's Nick Offerman. He's a great actor. What are we going to see out of this? And then all of a sudden he's like, just don't let them shoot me. Don't let me shoot. I'm an actual coward, even though I've started the Civil War.
Yeah,
that was good.
It was very. I think you can tell throughout the movie who is supposed to be who in the real world. It doesn't really pull any punches, even though it's not said. You can kind of tell, especially with his character. I think we all know who that was supposed to be. We won't say his name though. Anything else you didn't like?
What I didn't like is a question I find hard to answer because I haven't seen the film for a while.
And you really liked it.
And I dug it quite a lot. Yeah, it was really. I got more things to say about what I enjoyed than I didn't. So I think that's a good takeaway. I'm sure if I watch it again, there'll probably be something I'll be like, oh, the pacing in Act 2 was slightly off and blah, 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 and sound like a right twat. But overall, I really enjoyed the film. I think one of the reasons why I haven't got back to it as much as yourself, even though I know I should have prepared more for speaking about it, but I think it's a hard film to go back to. It's super good, and it's a powerful film as much as you sound like a twat saying that as well. But I want to see it again, but I'm in no rush to see it again. As much as that, as weird as that sounds, it was great. I love the story. I also hated the story because it was terrifying.
It's too real, right?
Yeah, 100%. I think you hit it there. It's way too real, especially with how politics and how America is at the moment. How it is very much so two-sided. It is just left and right, and this is obviously my opinion, and I'm probably very wrong because I don't look into politics as much as others, but it seems very two-sided down there at the moment, and terrifying too. So
there was this little speech the other day down there by, and he said that in 4 years people wouldn't have to worry about voting anymore when he's president. There's going to be no more voting, and it was like that kind of thing could lead to what happens in this movie. What
Putin is doing in Russia, how he's been
basically become
Russia for
a dictator. Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
So it's kind of scary. It's like they do kind of hit the nail on the head with this real world.
Side note, what M hit me with this morning, and what's his run-in partner called?
Oh,
yeah. Didn't he fuck a sofa or something? Like M dropped this bomb on me this morning after I'd been awake for 30 seconds, and I just didn't make any sense to me.
I know there was
zero research since.
I think there was an official. So he wrote Hillbilly Elegy. Have you seen that movie? Nope. Or read the book?
Nope.
So it's a book about this kid that grows up basically in a hillbilly family. And I think I've seen it, but I don't remember. I think there's a scene in that where the character that's based on him fucks a couch. But I think his spokespeople came out and they've been like, this isn't true, this never happened, which is just a hilarious thing to have to confirm or deny during an election run. Okay, John, so the movie kind of ramps up the entire way through, and then at the end they invade DC, try to get to the president. What do you think of the ending in general?
I really liked how it was going to lead into like the eventual end game, and you could see like all of them coming together for Avengers. It was cool, like seeing Spider-Man for the first time. It's great how like Sony and Marvel got together for that. I know it was a big deal for them, but it was like that end scene where Cap was fighting Iron Man and the Winter Soldier. That was pretty badass. But in the other Civil War movie, it's good. The ending was great. It was seeing Jessie's not kind of coming full circle, but like her progression through of just being fresh and green and just like, you know, afraid to speak and take photos of terrible things, to not taking a beat, to turn around and essentially your idol just got shot because of you, and you're just like, cool, photo, off we go. It's good and terrifying. It means that she's doing her job right, but does it make her a good person? Is it just a job? Is it more than that? It's a very hard line to stand in, and I couldn't do it. Overall, movie good. Yeah.
Loved it. Yeah.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, I agree. I think the final scene with the president was, again, it kind of threw me off that it was Nick Offerman, but I really liked how it was just like no mercy. There was just, this guy has ruined the entire country. It's time to just end it.
I love the lead up with that as well, because obviously Joel was talking about the whole movie going up to, he's like, man, I can't wait to finally meet the president, and like, I want to get this speech from him. It's going to be epic. It's going to be, renowned for his final speech kind of thing. And then they're like, just, it's not great. It's what's going to happen isn't going to be great. He's like, no, it's fine. I'm going to get this perfect speech from him. And, I'm going to get this quote perfect for these photos. And they're like, it's not going to work. And then it just turns out that he is a giant coward. And you're like, yeah, that adds up.
Yeah. No, it was perfect. I really like the ending. All right, John, what do you give Civil War out of 10?
Out of 10, I'm going to give it a solid 1865, the end of the American Civil War. How about you, Lucas? What did you give it out of 10?
I'm going to give it 9.5 crazy Plemons out of 10. I loved it. Yeah. I have no real complaints. My only complaint is a Nick Offerman thing. I love the guy, but it didn't really work as a character. Anyway, we've discussed that. I'm not gonna dwell on it.
No, it's a good movie. Go watch it. Go discuss it with friends. Go feel terrible afterwards.
Yeah, I feel like by now everyone has seen it because we left this so late. Full disclosure, We were supposed to do this a month ago, and I bailed on the Saturday just because I couldn't think of how to throw this one together. So yeah, I'm glad we got an episode out of it.
Cool. So thank you. That was episode 3 of Movie Time with the Boys. We covered Civil War, as you probably know, because you've just listened to it, and this is the end. We will try and keep this more regular now, as most of our life admin has got out of the way. I refer to it as life admin. Pretty important stuff. Luke got married. We talked about that. It's fine. He's done it. So now we can talk more about movies. The important things of life. So going forward, we're going to circle back to. We're going to keep this more consistent. Talk about more movies. If you have any suggestions, throw them in. We probably won't listen, but thank you anyway. Have a great day. This has been Luke First.
And this has been John Davis.
Smooth. Have a lovely morning, afternoon, evening, night, Wednesday. Love you, bye.
Love you, bye. Hey, congratulations, listener. You made it to the end of episode 3 and discovered the secret content. Our good friend Rob was supposed to join us this week, but being a brand new dad, congratulations Rob, he's a little busy. However, he still found the time to record his thoughts and send them over to us. Check out the video version of this podcast on YouTube for a nice little slideshow of Rob through the ages as he discusses his thoughts on Civil War. Thanks.
I'm a little man and I don't like this film. There were loads of really good parts of the film. I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed it in a way, like it was unexpected, because I wasn't really sure what was going to happen. So it was just nice from that perspective, I guess, to watch a film, not really clued up on what I'm going into, other than it's got some good recce, and then came away from it thinking, that was pretty good. 7 out of 10 because I would have liked more context as to how they'd got there. I guess what had happened for there to be, sort of an uprising against the man, what had happened, and not War and Peace on it, but I think just, like I said, more context I think would have made it from a good film to a great film. I would have felt more bought in to why they were doing what they were doing and what they were trying to achieve, which was obviously get the quote. But I did thoroughly enjoy sort of like the setup of the journey from where they were and all of those little things that happened along the way. There is a little part of me that kind of feels like it's a lot of little moments as opposed to a completely cohesive film. Having said that, I did enjoy it and some of the parts are really good. So I guess that's my thoughts on the film, but there were some really great moments. I thought the acting was really good. Obviously MJ, great, she's back, killing it, taking photographs, love that. No upside down kiss, that was disappointing. So yeah, 7 out of 10, enjoyable film. Probably won't go back and watch it. There were lots of good things, but it just was good, not great.